you join us this evening. We're going to make a very important conversation regarding raising awareness for mental health, and also the stigma relating to male suicides as well, because it's very much on the increase. The most recent public one was really the guy from Michael from Love Island. A young man seems to have everything going for himself. Got all the women, he has money, he has fame. So really, doesn't matter what position you are in life. Doesn't matter how much money you've got. It can affect all of us. Obviously, Gary Speed, the Wales manager, being another one. So the main thing now is just to raise awareness, really, and just talk about it. Mental health, for people who don't know, doesn't mean you're mad. It's a totally different thing. It's about the psychological reasons, the emotional reasons, your behaviour, so how you're going to act in everyday situations. I mean, it could be going through a bad period in your life, which makes you makes you react differently. Your level of depression may be different. It may be clinical depression. It may be just where you are in life. Also, anxieties. People suffer from different levels of anxiety. Again, it may be based on your appearance. You may not feel happy with yourself. It could be anything. So with me, I think it falls into different areas. You could be in the black, which could be very, very low. You could be in the white. You could be happy as Larry, and nothing seems to affect you, and you could bounce off problems. Or I'll say 80% of our population are in the grey area, and they can easily drop into any types of depression or anxiety, withdrawal. That's what we're going to look into tonight. I've got some special guests with me today. Unfortunately, a lot of the guests I lined up today, a lot of them actually pulled out at the last minute, which I'm not going to actually blame them for, because obviously when you're suffering with mental health, it's very difficult to actually speak about, which is why we're trying to raise an awareness today, especially to go onto YouTube and speak to thousands of people. So I'm not going to think any less of them for not coming on. I actually think a lot of them for reaching out in the first place, and I hope the people who haven't came on today are actually watching the podcast, and they can actually message me after or get involved in the comments as well. I've got my co-host with me, Craig, who also runs the Same Old Arsenal podcast. For all the Arsenal supporters who are watching, I think there's going to be quite a few of us. Please tune in tomorrow. Is your podcast at 7 tomorrow, Craig?
Tomorrow, no, 8:30, mate.
Podcast at 8:30 tomorrow, which is now changed the time of our podcast because we don't want to run in concurrently. So we're going to start our podcast on the Arsenal versus Watford reaction at 7 o'clock, and hopefully then you can stay tuned and tune into Craig and subscribe to Craig and watch the Same Old Arsenal podcast as well. I've got my regular cohort with me, Terry, who basically hasn't got any. He says he hasn't suffered from any mental illness, so that's good. But the reason I've invited him on is because people who've never suffered from it don't understand it, don't understand where we're coming from and what we're going through. So he may ask some questions which hopefully that we can answer. We've also got Lloyd Ranks with us. You may know Lloyd has been on Arsenal Fan TV quite a bit. And also Darren Giddens, who's got a very special story, and I'm so pleased that he's going to share it with us, because Darren's sort of come back from a very, very dark place, and it's just the reason I've got Darren on is because if Darren could come through what he's come through from a very early childhood, then hopefully we all can. I'm going to pass you over to Craig for the moment. If Craig could tell us a bit about himself and what he's been going through, and also can enlighten us a bit, because if anyone knows, I'm in a pretty dark place at the moment. I've got things going on in my life at the moment, which I'm even scared to talk about, because obviously there's trolls on YouTube. But I'm doing this podcast for a reason, and I hope that it encourages everyone else who can actually speak as well. I'm just going to pass you to Craig to say a bit about yourself, and also Craig is going to co-host it with me because he knows a lot more than I do. And he can help guide us all along, really. So, Craig.
Thank you very much, mate. Not too sure if I know more or anything about mental health than anyone else, really. First of all, it's an honour to come on here and talk about this. Thanks for inviting me, mate. I know a lot of people suffer from different things, different levels of mental illnesses, and I think it affects more people. It affects more people than you know. I think a lot of people are good at covering it up. I think I was very good at covering it up until one day the shit hit the fan, if you like. I can remember being at home and my wife saying to me that someone was coming round, and I didn't want them to come round. And I said it to her. I said, "No, I don't want anyone to come round. I don't want anyone round here." And that was that. And she was looking at me, and I was thinking, and then there was something deep inside of me that said, "Whoa, whoa, 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 what's going on here? You know, why don't you want people to come round, or why didn't you want to see anyone?" I mean, there was times when I was very bad. I didn't want to go home to see my kids. I don't know how, and I'm surely some people who've just heard me say that must be thinking, what? But I genuinely didn't want to. Not because I didn't love them. I love them.
For me, I felt like I was disappointed to my kids.
Yeah.
I'll let you carry on. So.
Well, for me, it was I didn't want them to see me like the way I was. I didn't want them thinking that this is a normal way to behave, because it's not a normal way to behave. If you really sit down and think about it, the way I was behaving was not the way to behave, and I didn't want my kids seeing the way I was. And I'm just so lucky that I had a very, very understanding wife. I'm sure a lot of other women would have just, walked away from it, or told me to pull yourself together, get over it, this kind of thing. She's been like a rock to me, and it's hard. When I was 19, I left England. I moved to Ireland. I found it very hard. Didn't have any mates around. Didn't have anyone to talk to. Kind of making my own way through life, doing it all over again, kind of thing, But I suffer from anxiety, very high levels of anxiety. I'm on medication for it, and I won't stop taking my medication for it. There's a big stigma attached to medication as well, I think. People that hear when their friends are on medication for depression or anxiety, or, oh, he's going to get addicted to them now, and this, that, and the other, they're going to ruin his life, and all that business. What people need to realize is when someone is depressed, or when someone is anxious, we actually have chemicals missing. Not missing, but my brain doesn't make the same amount of chemical as a normal person, in inverted commas. I need to take a tablet to produce the chemical and have balance in my brain. So I just wanted to get that out of the way, to be honest, because I don't like it when I hear people say, "Oh, he's on medication, they're going to send him mad," this kind of thing. I take tablets because I need to take tablets. And if I don't take them, I really feel you feel it. I can go down that slippery slope in 3 days. If I don't take one for 3 days, I can feel myself going over the edge again.
For me, I think the trigger point for me is some people know, some people don't. I lost my partner to the big C, and my life went down over the last three years. Well, since I found out, really, 4 years, pretty drastically. It's mixed with the adjustment in life. So basically, it's not saying it necessarily isn't something that you're born with. It could be an event in life. What triggers how you handle certain situations going forward. It questions who you are. And basically, you start doubting yourself, and not only do you doubt yourself, when you try and do things, you rely on other people. Other people seem to let you down, and not just within comfort, but in all aspects of life. Really, you want to try and you could be going for a job or what have you, and someone might put you down. again, we put ourselves in the public eye going on. When I'm on that Arsenal fan TV, you're getting the hate left, right, and centre. You think to yourself, why am I doing this? And for people who put people down, just think of what that person might be going through. That person might be bringing up his kids on his own. That person might have just met someone. That person might be getting older. That person might, anything. Just going to Darren. Darren's got quite a touching story, and Darren's had a very hard life, and he's had to make a lot of adjustments from the time where he was a young kid, and life should have been beautiful. Darren, if you could tell us a bit about your story, please.
Well, basically for me, it's only really in the last few years that I've sort of realised that I had suffered from depression, like really. Basically, when I was 6 years old, my dad hung himself. And, as I grew up, I sort of grew up without a dad. I had a sort of stepdad for a bit, but he was only ever my stepdad. Like, I never saw him as my dad, do you know what I mean? So that was really hard for me, like losing my dad so young. And like when like Arsenal used to lose an important game, like something bad that happens, like in my view, that's bad. Like it's just a game of football at the end of the day. But like that was my world crushing in kind of thing. And like I'd feel really low. And obviously now I sort of understand that I actually probably had depression back then. And basically because of what my dad did, like events trigger it. Like when Chester from Linkin Park killed himself about 2 years ago, I used to really love Linkin Park, and that really messed with my head. Like I was having these weird dreams. I was seeing my dad hanging and all this sort of stuff. But basically, the other things I've dealt with in my life, when I was 20 in 2000, I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma at the same time that we sadly lost David Rocastle from it. And my auntie also died of breast cancer at the same time. So it was a really obviously a really tough time. So I was told I wouldn't have kids, and I got through it. I was always like upset because I've always wanted kids. And back in about 2005, I think 2006, literally I'd had another relationship had gone wrong. I was single. I was on the downer, just sitting in my room listening to music. And I thought, no one's ever going to want me. I can't have kids. My dad killed himself because of me, like because I was bullied at school because my dad killed himself. And literally I went to off license and I bought some shots, and I literally down these shots, and I was walking basically to a overpass thing, and I was just going to end it. It's about 2005, 2006. So I've beaten cancer, and yeah, I'm still in this mind frame. And basically I managed to stop myself. I got to the, literally on the way, I was drinking these shots, and I was like phoning my friends, like just to say goodbye, but they didn't realize I was saying goodbye. I was just ringing just to basically say goodbye. And anyway, I stopped myself from doing it. I thought of my mum, and I thought, I can't do that to my mum, like what she's been through. And I've actually phoned Samaritans, and I stopped myself. And and then years later, like, I'm happy I get married, and I have a kid. I've actually got a son now, a little son. Like I never thought I'd have. His name's Jack. I named him after Jack Wilshere. That didn't really work out, did it? But yeah, and I was looking at him, and it's like when I was looking at him, and when he was a baby, I was just really happy and buzzing. And then when he got that bit older, I was sort of looking at him and thinking, how can my dad do what he did to me when I was 6 years old? Like,
do you feel resentment for what he done? The reason I ask is because I put a tweet out on Twitter without really thinking about it, right? Because what I've been through in my life, basically, I thought about it, what your dad did, because I thought there was no way out. And then I looked at my kids, and I thought, what life would I give them if I done anything like that? And I put a tweet out without really thinking about the implications of the tweet I put out. After the guy from Love Island done it, and I said it's a selfish act for someone to do because of the people they're leaving behind. Where it was that tweet was more me not understanding it and lashing out because I felt I had no way out, and I felt like I'm left here to carry on suffering every day. But looking back and speaking to people who have lost people to it and have thought about doing it, that they haven't ever felt resentment against the person who actually took that step, but they've actually tried to understand the position in life where they come from, to feel there was no way out, really. So how did you feel about your dad doing that?
I think for years I was very angry, and I kind of like thought it was my fault. Was he disappointed in me? Like, I've got a sister who's 6 years older, and obviously he was kind of probably closer to her because it was close to me, but because obviously the age difference, I always sort of thought, oh, was our disappointment to him, and probably being bullied at school over it is, probably didn't help. But when I've been in a dark place myself, I can completely understand why he felt he had to do that. And also, we're talking 1988, so people weren't doing what we're doing now, talking about it. So, and he had his own issues as well, like he was disabled from an illness. And, I just remember literally, like I say, I was 6 years old, and I remember he used to bib his horn in his little car, like little scooter thing, and I used to run down the road just to jump on it and then ride back up. And that was literally, it's a 2-minute walk. But I think it doesn't help when I was in a bad place over a year, like the house he committed suicide in, or completed suicide, as we say now, I still have to walk past it every day. And, it's horrible, like still walking past it. I wish we kind of moved further away. But basically, with my little boy, that was when I sort of realised there's something wrong with me, like, because I'm looking at him and he's a little boy that I never thought I'd have. And I'm thinking, why am I happy? What's wrong with me? Like, I'm tired, I'm stressed because I work nights. Like, me and the wife both work full time, probably don't get much time together. So it is hard, but I should still be like, I've got this little boy, I should be really happy. And what's wrong with me? But it's little things that trigger it. Like I say, when Chester committed suicide, that really messed with my head. Like I was having lots of weird dreams and I couldn't sleep. And that was when I actually said, I've got to do something about this. And I ended up speaking to Minds, and I had some counselling with Minds. And honestly, it's the best thing I ever did, because I learned about my dad, stuff that I should have known, like what jobs did he do, what music did he like, all these sort of things that probably make me feel more connected to him now. Like, you can't see my ring, but like when I got married, I've got his wedding ring as my wedding ring. So little things like that. But because I understand more about mental illness and what he did and like the place he was in, and I know more about him as a person, I've kind of learned to deal with it a bit better. But it's like anything in life, you'll go through bad things, but when you're not expecting it, like you'll be sitting there watching a film and you're like, this is a good film, and then suddenly there's a hanging scene, and it's straight away that, do you know what I mean? It's just a horrible feeling. But the thing that's got me in a good place, like I said, I haven't been that low since last December. I'm always like, I have my moments of being stressed, but I'm never in a dark place anymore, and that's music. Like Spotify, literally, that's the thing. Like what you were saying, Craig, about medication, I completely get what you're saying, but that was something that scared me. Like the thought of going to doctors and getting signed, like getting, put on antidepressants, that scared me. And that's probably because I didn't understand what you're saying about, why you need it. But that scared me, the thought of having to rely on taking this tablet to make you feel good, like, or normal in inverted commas. So yeah, it's music's my thing. Music. I've discovered so many bands in this last year, like literally so many bands. And one of them in particular, Yannicka, I love them. They speak about mental health in their music, and it can help you power through your day.
I mean, with tablets, I mean, a lot of people, say taking tablets just takes the edge off things. But the thing is, the underlying problem for where you are in your life at that particular time is still there. Craig, how have you found that it's helped you cope? I mean, what's the medication done for you?
Well, the medication is obviously helping me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be taking it. Now, there's a massive stigma around tablets, and people think that it's a magic pill that I take and it makes me Craig. And if I don't take the magic pill, then I'm not Craig. I become this anxious, moody div. Really, is the only way I could describe myself. When I look back on the way I used to be, I've gone through 8 different types before I found the one that I'm on now that is doing the best. Which is doing the best job for me. There is no shame at all in walking into a doctor's surgery and telling the doctor that you don't feel right, and that you are down, and that you don't feel right, and this, that, and the other. I walked into my doctor's surgery and I said to him, I feel down, I feel depressed, I'm sad, I cannot sleep, I lie in bed awake at night. And he said to me, goodness me, I've never had a man come in here and tell me that before. So that, you know, that tells you everything about where we are as men. Now, obviously, we're all men here, and we're talking about men's. We're trying to make, you know, an awareness about men's mental health. But there's women out there who suffer like me. There's women out there who suffer like Darren, like yourself. You know, I know we're here talking about men, but I think it's harder for a man to. I mean, can you imagine now if you know? Put yourself in a situation where you're in the pub and you say to your mate, "Oh, I ain't really feeling myself. You know, I'm feeling a bit down." You know, it's come on, mate. What's wrong with you? You know, pull yourself together. You know that pull yourself together thing. You'll get over it. You'll be all right.
I think that's the stigma we've got to get over, though, isn't it, Craig? Surely.
What's that?
But that's the stigma we've got to get over.
We have to. Yeah, we have to. I mean, there was a brilliant video on Facebook there the other day. I don't know if anyone saw it or if anyone follows the page on the tools. It's a brilliant Facebook page, you know, shows builders getting up to it, having a laugh, and all the business that they get up to, you know. But there was a brilliant video, and if you haven't seen it, I advise anyone to go over to Facebook and go to On the Tools and watch the video. Basically, it was a scene, 3 fellas, they all work together, they were, you know, all good pals, and one of them is just not himself. He's sitting on his own, he's eating his lunch on his own, he's making mistakes. He's not answering the phone. And I'm shouting at the screen to his mates, ask him if he's all right. Ask him if he's all right. More scenes pass. They don't ask him. Then there's a scene where he's sitting in the dark, eating his lunch on his own, looking into the phone. And one of his mates finally goes over and asks him if he's all right. And he turns around and he says, well, actually, I'm not. And the video finishes. Because you know what happens next? His mate tells him about why he's not feeling too good, and you know, and the rest, it goes from there. I think talking to someone is so important. If, like me, it was very hard for me to talk to someone because I hope I don't I don't upset anyone now who lives in Ireland or who is Irish, but I found that it was a no subject. To talk to people, you know, it was a non-subject. Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean? You know, what do you mean you don't feel well? What do you mean you feel down? I don't think quite a lot of people understood how some people can feel sometimes. So that's why I had to go to my doctors. I spoke to my wife about it, of course, and my wife said, well, I'm not, I'm absolutely delighted you've opened up to me, but if that's the way you're feeling, if you're telling me the truth, then you need to go and see someone. And I did, and I went for 15 weeks counselling. I had 15 sessions of counselling and I was made. I'll never forget. I was made fill in a digital questionnaire when I first went. And basically, you fill out all these questions, and the computer decides whether what kind of space you're in. By the generation of answers. And I was high risk of doing something stupid.
Was you doing that every week? Because when I had mine through Minds, every week I'd have an assessment like before the session.
No, what I done was I done it on the first day, and then I done it on my last day after the counselling. And after I'd finished the counselling, I filled in the same questionnaire, and I was no risk. But that doesn't mean to say that I walked out of there and started skipping down the road and everything's done, I then went and done a further 15-week cognitive cognitive behavioral therapy, and that changed my life. That was a course on how to change my way of thinking. It was a course on how to react to certain situations. Instead of me, like, let me give you a prime example. Like, people ask me why I can't go to people ask me why I don't go to the Emirates, why I don't go to football. The honest answer, I'm scared. I'm scared to go to football.
What are you scared of?
I'm scared to be inside the Emirates Stadium. I'm scared to be round so many people.
Why is that, Craig?
Because my mind is telling me something's going to go wrong, and I can't process that it's not. I truly believe that something's going to go. Well, I did truly believe that something was going to go wrong.
Have you ever? Obviously, you've been to a game.
Oh yeah, I've been to loads of games.
Yeah. So when was the last time you went?
The last time I went to the Emirates was when we beat. The last time I went to the Emirates, we beat Norwich 4-1. I was lucky enough to be there when Jack Wilshere scored that wonder goal.
Yeah.
And even to that, when my mate got me the tickets, I made him get tickets while I was on the end to make sure I was on the end of the row.
Yeah.
That I was next to the stairs.
I think what Joseph's saying in his comment is quite strong and it's relevant because people who do suffer with mental health issues, they've got at times, not all the time, it may be even 10% of the time, they got low self-esteem. They feel they ain't got no self-worth. They're very withdrawn. They don't like to mix with a lot of people, and sometimes it feels like you're wearing a mask. You have to put a different face onto people, and it's not the face what's on your head. So you're just trying to show something that you're not. So where Joseph says, every day I wake up, it's a battle. I feel useless. I can't even take my kids to the park on my own because I'm so paranoid to leave the house on my own. It's Joseph, you know what? I really hope that you get the help and there's a trigger in your life that something changes how you feel because even though all of us go through different things and every day is different. It could be different from 1 hour to the next. At some point in our time, we've all felt like that. We've all felt like that. Lloyd. Well, I was going to come to Lloyd, but he's in there.
Too late.
A lot of people have related changing their mindset with like Darren said, music. For me, it's Arsenal.
Cool.
Arsenal's the opposite.
I think you need to find something else, mate. To be honest.
And when it wasn't Arsenal, mine was training, going to the gym. But unfortunately, I've got kidney stones at the moment, so I've had to go to the gym for 3 months, and that's made me feel a lot worse because that was my release to set up some good endorphins. But the main thing is really, especially on the male suicide thing, it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot for you to hit that moment in time that you think, you know what, I'm going to do it. And once you've done it, there's no coming back.
The thing is what you're saying as well. It's people like in general, people like banter and all the rest of it. But sometimes like you said earlier on, you've got to know, like, be careful what you say. Like, you don't know what that person's going through. It's like with me, because like of what I went through when I was younger. Obviously, I'm a passionate Arsenal fan. Everyone at college and school and all my life has known I'm a passionate Arsenal fan. Like my auntie who died of breast cancer at the same time I had cancer. Her and her brother who sadly died a few months ago. They were the reason like my whole family support Arsenal, my cousins and that support the club. And because I'm so passionate, like whenever we lost a game, all your friends are like, messages sort of thing. And when we win, no one ever says anything. And when you're in a bad place, like that's enough to like trigger you into like feeling really low. Do you know what I mean? It's just banter at the end of the day. You just mates having banter. They don't know how they're making you feel. But that I say in 2005 or 6, whenever I nearly went and done it, Everything was going wrong. I was single. Like I said, I didn't think I was going to have kids. I didn't think I'd be any worth to anyone. I think we just got knocked out of the Champions League, and that was like, do you know what I mean? It's hard, but it's really good to come in here and speak about things, and just hopefully if it helps one person like Joseph or anyone else that's commenting, then
Exactly.
it's good.
Let's try and hear from Lloyd, because Lloyd, your internet seems to keep going in and out. Can you hear us, Lloyd? Unfortunately, Lloyd can't hear us, so I think we'll carry on with it.
Sonny, this morning covered it really well last week, because obviously it was mental health awareness last week, and they were saying that 94 males a week kill themselves due to suicide. 94.
No, it's a crazy amount. I did a suicide awareness course just after my birthday, like just a 1-day course, and some of the stats that I saw in that, it was just like crazy to learn some of the stuff in that. It was hard like to do a suicide awareness course, but I thought it was something I wanted to do. So it's definitely like I say, I've got to I'm nearly 40, and I've got to the age of actually I've suddenly realised what I want to do with my life. Like if I can help one person through just doing the podcast or like working like in that sort of area, it's definitely something I want to do. Just want to like try and help people get themselves back together, kind of thing.
I remember when I finished my counselling, and I don't know if any of you saw it, but I'd done a video from the account, and I just done a video, you know. I finished my course on this, on that. I'm feeling better, this, that, and the other. Now, 65,000 people watched that video. I couldn't believe it. Absolutely couldn't believe it. My Twitter was going mental. People tweeting me, "Oh, thanks very much." I was getting stopped in the street here by people. "Oh, you're Craig, aren't you? Did you do that video on Twitter?" My daughter showed it to me, and my daughter's gone to the doctors to get help because you made her realise that, you know, she needed to go and get help. People DMing me. People to this day are still DMing me. Can I speak to you? Can I talk to you? Now, I'm no doctor. I'm no specialist. I welcome anyone to come and talk to me. Send me a message if you want me to. If you want to, I can't guarantee that I'll answer it straight away, but I will answer it if I see it. It's good to talk. You need to talk. And my main message for coming on here is, if any man or woman is feeling low and you feel like you're losing control, or you feel like that life is so shit that you just cannot carry on anymore, please go and talk to someone. There is so many people available to talk to. It doesn't have to be your mum. It doesn't have to be your dad. It doesn't have to be your sister. It doesn't have to be your brother. It doesn't have to be your best friend. There is so many people out there that are waiting on the end of a phone. There are so many people out there who are waiting for you to walk in. And there are so many people waiting out there to help you. So please, if you're feeling shit, if you're feeling down, go and talk to someone tomorrow. Now. There's so many things. There's if you go on Twitter and type in mental health, or I bet you will find somewhere that is open now for you to ring and have a word with a specialist counsellor on the end of the phone. So please, if you're feeling shit, if you're feeling down, just go and talk to someone. All right.
You know what, Craig? I've never spoken to anybody, and I've never taken anything. Right. And I don't know whether it's been a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, when I was 19, I lost my dad. He used to drink. My dad used to drink a lot, and his liver packed up at home. And I was giving him the kiss of life when he passed away at 19 years old. Right, so from that point, for me, all I wanted to do was to meet someone, start a family, and be in that family unit again. I find it very difficult to speak to people. You know, I'm coming on here, but I find it very difficult to speak to people because a lot of things I just think it's in my head. I think time would help things. Even normal situations. I think life's a circle. Like 1 minute you're down, next minute your life events change, and you're up again. So as a man, I'm still one of them men who don't believe in the process. I feel like if I go and speak to a professional, I think it's opening a can of worms, and which is totally the wrong thing to do. So for me, doing this this podcast was a way for me to learn and understand, and also speak to people as well.
The only can of worms you're opening, Sonny, is a can of worms into getting better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Can I just say that obviously I've never suffered with anything or mental illness or anything like that. I've obviously there's been 5 suicides that I know of that hasn't been directly involved with me, but I know of, and 4 of them have been men, 2 of them have been boys. So I just want to say to people out there, because us men, we can talk about football until the cows come home, no matter if you've got mental health issues or not. So if you can talk about football, I'm sure you can talk to any of us that are on Twitter, any of us 4. Please just give us a message, and you know what I mean. Don't think you're on your own.
Another quite important factor as well is a lot of people think about talking about mental health is a sign of failure.
Yeah.
You could be very successful in business. You know, you can have a lot of money. You can have a lovely house. You can have a lovely car. That doesn't discriminate you from having mental health issues. That's the other thing. So, going through a difficult period in your life is not related. It doesn't have to be related to money. It can be, and also it can't be. But again, being depressed. Where I go on Twitter, and I start reading about mental health blogs and what have you. I've got people who got mental health issues think it's a trophy to be more mentally ill than somebody else, and they try and dismiss what you've got because theirs is worse, right? But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Even if you had mental health for a week, a month, a year, or all your life, everyone is the same as everyone else, you know. And it just depends what professional you see and what medication you take and what might change your life. But having more of a mental health than somebody else is not a trophy, and you can't disregard the other person who's also not feeling great about themselves or about life. So for people who think they don't know whether they've got a mental health issue or not, you're just as much at risk of developing something serious as a person who's got something serious. So well, everyone's in the same boat. Lloyd, can you hear us? I mean, Lloyd's just with us. Can you hear us, Lloyd? Lloyd, can you hear us? Can you hear us? He can't hear us.
He can't hear us.
Can I bring up something, Sonny? Obviously, because a lovely lady messaged me today, telling me about her situation. So if you don't mind, I'll just quickly read what she tweeted me and messaged me. She said that mental health is very close to my heart. Our son, who is 15, has suffered from anxiety for 3 years. He hasn't been to school for over 2 years now, and we had to fight for homeschooling and have funded and found therapy for him when no help was given. Over the last few years, I have seen who is our true friends and had to walk away from people who think school talks too much about mental health and that kids fake to get out of school. If only people could see what we've been through as a family. I actually need to go on to the next page. I can't. It's a great thing that we're talking about this. Teachers need to be educated on how to talk to kids, and kids need to know they can reach out to people to help. The school our son went to and now our youngest goes to didn't have a clue. When we were on our knees asking for help, we got nothing. Thankfully, we had private health and got him CBT. I'll come back to that because I was going to talk to you about that, Craig, in a minute, which worked for a bit, but it's not the greatest therapy for some. We have had to fight for everything to get him homeschooled and now fighting to get him ECHP. But all our evidence is out of date now, as the school only just passed us to a lady that can help us after 3 years. It's been a joke and he has been severely let down. I hope tonight goes well for you all and thank you for raising an important issue.
before you come on to Craig, Terry, I just want to say, a lot of people don't actually see mental health as an illness, because it's not a physical illness. You know, they don't actually see it as an illness. For instance, you could let me pick out here. You could go to the council and say to them, you know what, I need a cancer house, or you could go and see anybody in life, and if you can't provide, or even people who sign on is another one. People who sign on, for instance, who may get disability benefit, and then they're better, or you know they can walk up a flight of stairs. You know, they can do their own shopping. So if that person has got mental health issues as well, and he goes and sees the assessor, and he says to the assessor says to him, have you walked up the stairs to get here today? Can you walk 50 feet? If that person says yes, but I've got mental health issues, 9 times out of 10 they'll stop that person's benefit because they think they're fit enough to work.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of corporate bodies, the council, unemployment, and what have you, who just don't recognise mental health as an illness at all.
Yeah, that is true. But I mean, you know, we're kind of going off the subject there a bit, I think, mate, talking about something like that. But you're dead right. Yeah, mental illness is invisible. Some mental illnesses are invisible, but coming on to the CBT thing there, I just want to say there, Joseph, in the chat, Joseph, if you can pluck up the courage, mate, I'd like you to go and talk to your doctor, because I think you would be a brilliant candidate for CBT therapy. And I'll tell you, what's that?
What does that actually stand for?
So CBT stands for cognitive behavioural can't even say it. Cognitive behavioural cognitive. I can't say it.
Cognitive behavioural therapy.
Thank you very much, Sonny. Yeah, that what Sonny said. Because he sounds like I used to be. If my wife would say, right, let's go to the city shopping, I'd be like, yeah, okay. And I think, oh no, I've got to walk into a shop. I've got to walk into a shopping centre. There's going to be loads of people in there. You know, and what I used to do is then, right, I used to link my triggers, and I used to say to myself, right, if I don't go into a shopping centre, I won't get anxious. If I don't go and watch Arsenal, I won't get anxious. If I don't go to the pub, I won't be anxious. So then I find myself sitting at home, twiddling my thumbs. Or all my mates are down the pub, or people have gone to watch Arsenal, or the missus has gone shopping, and that's no good either, you know. So I went back to my doctors, and I said, you know, I'm still, you know, still not right. He sent me for CBT training. I went to see an assessor, answered his questions, and he said I was a prime candidate. Now, CBT involves my brain, right, at the moment. Everyone's got fight or flight, right? So that means that if you're walking down the road and a lion jumped out in the road, your brain is going to tell you, do we run or do we stand here? And do we fight it? Now, hopefully, I'm hoping that everyone's brains would say fucking run, because there's a lion standing in front of you, right? But my brain, right? If a lion jumps out at me, my brain would go, run! No, don't, stop, stay there. No, actually run. No, actually stay standing still. And I'm fucking, oh, geez, fucking, too late, I'm fucking dead. The lion's got me, like, you know?
Yeah.
But that's what my brain used to do. Until, I'll give you another example. If my boy jumps up on the couch and he was standing on the edge of the couch, fucking get him down. He's going to fall off. He's going to fucking smash his head off the floor, and get him down. You know? Or if I'm watching a video, I can't watch, I'd never used to be able to watch things on YouTube, roller coasters and heights and things like that. I'd be doing this, swinging around, I thinking that I was going to fall off the edge of a cliff or something. So weird. But I went to this CBT therapy, and it just totally, CBT is about thinking and changing the way you think. Okay, so I'm walking down the road, the lion jumps out at me. What am I going to do? Fucking run. You know, I'm not going to go and watch Arsenal because I'm afraid something's going to happen. Well, what's going to happen? What's going to happen, Craig? I sit down and I say it to myself, what's going to happen? I'm probably going to sit down. I'm probably going to have a few beers. I'm probably going to watch the Arsenal. I'm probably going to come outside, go for a few more beers and jump on the plane and go home. That's probably what's going to happen. But my brain used to tell me, well, what's going to happen is you're going to go in. There's going to be loads of people around you. Something really bad's going to happen. The stand's going to collapse and you're all going to die. You know, and I'm being honest here. People think, what fucking are you talking about? That is what I used to think. Going into the shopping centre with my missus, what's going to happen? I'm going to have a heart attack in the middle of the shop and I'm going to cause a massive scene and I'm going to be dead and I'm going to cause a massive scene, right? So I changed the way of thinking. If I go into the shopping centre and I have a heart attack and I drop dead, I ain't going to know fuck all about it, am I? So what am I worrying about causing a scene for?
Yeah.
That is like probably quite a harsh example of CBT, but
does anxiety lead to depression as well? Or are they two separate?
It probably does. I mean,
if you're anxious about doing something, don't you then get depressed?
Well, that's what I said to you. Like, if like, I would get depressed because I wasn't doing anything. You know, I'll be sitting at home.
Withdrawn.
You know, yeah. You're taking yourself out of what Darren just said there. You know, you become isolated. You become isolated sitting at home, and you get comfortable with it, and that's another scary thing as well. I got very, very comfortable being on my own, and that was very dangerous. You know, when I'd be at work, I'd predominantly be on my own. While I was working, I'd go home to my children. I've got young children. They go to bed. My wife would be in the room sorting them out. I'm in the bedroom on my own. She'd come into the bed. Kids would wake up at night. I would be on my own. I eat my lunch on my own. And I got very, very used to being on my own. I wasn't on my own because no one don't like me or I don't like anyone. I was on my own because it was just the position that I found myself in. It's just how it is. You know, that's just the way my day goes.
Did you find that people stayed away from you, friends?
No. People. I was very good at masking it, Sonny. I was very, very good at it. You know, the cliche of, oh, just because he's laughing and he's joking doesn't mean that, he's not suffering. I used to mask it very well. I mean, there might be people on here now watching this who've never known this about me, and they might be sitting there going, fuck, I never knew this about him. I mean, when I was younger, any of my friends would tell you, when I was younger, I was the first to do something. I'd do anything for a laugh. I was the life and soul of a party. And they'd be very surprised. A lot of them, obviously I've lost contact with a lot of them now, but if a lot of them are watching this, I think they'd be very, very surprised to find out that I have suffered with depression and I have suffered with anxiety. But really my main reason for coming on here is, I want to tell people that please don't be scared of the feelings that you're feeling. Okay. It's happening for a reason. Whether if you can find out the reason, then great. If you can grasp it and sort yourself out. But I don't want anyone to go through it alone. You mustn't go through it alone. You've got to talk to someone. You've got to want to help yourself. Now, it's like giving up smoking. I gave up smoking because I wanted to give up smoking, and I've given them out. And I've been off the fags now for nearly over a year. But you've got to want to do something. And you've got to go. If you're really feeling that bad, you've got to go and speak to someone. There is, like I've said before, I know I'm banging on a bit, and I'm sorry, but there's so much help out there for you. There's things that are not being used. People that are not being allowed to use their profession to help people. Also, once you've once you've done all the counselling and once you've done all the CBT and you're taking medication, you've still got to carry on being mindful. Okay, you've got to carry on being mindful about your own mind. Okay, it's very important that you learn to empty it. One of the best things I've ever learned to do in my life is being able to empty it. This is going to sound silly. People might think I'm a bit silly, but I actually meditate every day. And it doesn't have to be sitting in your bedroom with scented candles going and sitting with your legs crossed, like this, humming a tune to yourself. You can meditate anywhere. And when I say, well, I meditate on my lunch break. I'll go into the toilet and I'll sit on the toilet. Not sit on the toilet, but I'll sit on the toilet. It's quiet. I'll sit there for 10 minutes with my eyes closed and just empty my mind.
I hope you've got two toilets in your ass.
I do it at night before I go to sleep. Meditate, being mindful is not about sitting there with a statue of Buddha and, all this crack. This is a very good point here from George. Downloading Headspace is a great starting point. Again, there's so much help there. I actually use an app called Oak. You can get it on the iPhone App Store. You can get it on there. It's called Oak. And it's a guided meditation app. You can set it for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I'd start off doing, if anyone wants to try it, start off doing 5 minutes. It's just basically all it is a guided meditation with a man or a woman guiding you through it. The sound of rain falling. You just carry out the instructions that you're being told. And then once you feel more confident, you can step it up to 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. But I can now do it without the app and without any guide. You learn how to do it. So if anyone's been wondering about it or thinking about doing it, do it, because it is absolutely fantastic. And once you can learn to empty your mind, and once you can learn to change the way you think and change your thought process, and you can actually sit back and say to yourself, Christ, I would have absolutely melted in that situation, but I've spoke to myself, I changed the way I thought, and nothing happened. If you can do that, if you can get to that point, you're winning.
I think it's like people suffering from anxiety. It does affect how they connect with people a lot. Even when they're in new relationships, they might be scared of seeing the person's family and everything. Everything's a very big deal. Whether it's anxiety, depression, it would just be nice for the people around you and who you meet. It's just take notice of each other. Really, I think everyone's at such a fast pace in life. No one takes any notice of each other.
Yeah.
You don't need a counsellor every person you've spoken to, but it would be nice if someone when they actually ask you how are you, they actually mean how are you, rather than a manner of speech would be nice. So really, for everyone, just take some notice of each other. Really. Yeah,
but what's important is, Sonny, is if someone does ask you how are you, if you are suffering, tell them.
Yeah.
Don't. You get a lot. I walk down the street and I bump into you, Sonny. Right? Let's just say, for example, I bump into you tomorrow, right? And I didn't know none of this about you, right? And we're walking down the street and I say, "It's all right, Sonny. How's it going?" "I'm all right, Craig. You?" You just told me a lie.
Yeah.
I'm not talking. I'm not saying that you should. Look, actually, I need to rephrase that. Actually, if someone close to you, one of your best friend or your dad or your mum or your sister or your brother says to you, "Are you all right?" and you're not, tell them.
The problem with that, though, Craig, is I know we're talking about raising awareness, but the problem with that is if someone says to you, "How are you, Craig?" and you say, "Actually, I'm not great." Sometimes, depending on who you're talking to, could turn around and think, "Shit, I wish I never asked him."
Then if that's the case, then you don't. If that's the case, it's on a process of elimination. Next time, so you've got to. If someone says, "Oh," if you say, "Well, actually, I'm not. I'm feeling a bit down," and they say, "Oh," they get taken away from it. It still could be a good thing because someone might say, "Jesus, I saw Sonny the other day." They might see your sister or your brother. God, I saw Sonny the other day, and he told me you weren't all right. Then perhaps that way, your brother comes on, your sister comes on and says, "Well, you told such and such the other day that you're not feeling all right. Is everything all right?" Then there's another chance.
Definitely. And at your times of need as well, you find out who your real friends are and people that really care about you as well. Yeah.
I can remember only last year, I went back for my mum's 60th birthday party. I went back to Clacton. And my best mate, all the way through school, he knows who he is. He's been like a brother to me all the way through school. I only told him last year about everything that had happened to me over the, since I'd left. And he was sitting in his, he's sitting there and he's looking at me like that. What? We went through school together since we were 6. And you're only telling me this now. He couldn't believe it. And he actually honestly said to me, "God, I would never ever would have thought that you were feeling like that, And he was really upset. I never asked you if you were all right. Do you know? But I again made the mistake of masking it, and it got to such a level where I'd moved, got married, and had kids. And it was only then I realised that I had to do something about it, So it's really, really important to tell someone and to talk to someone.
I think another thing is as well. Again, if any of your friends and family, if you're noticing behavioural changes amongst someone in your family or your close friendship group, just take a notice of that person. If they've lost a lot of weight, if they seem to be not eating, if they're dressing differently, if you haven't seen them for a while, again, just take a notice of what that person's doing. Just some idiot in the comment section put mental health awareness and laughing emoji. Why are you on here, bruv? Seriously,
That's all right. That's all right. Leave him off, Sonny. Leave him off. It tells you when someone does that. It tells you everything you need to know about that person. So that's one that you can eliminate. I'm going back to process of elimination. Yeah. Right.
I had when I
that fella there. You ban him from your YouTube channel. You block him on Twitter. Done. You never have to worry about him again.
Don't give him the time of day.
No.
Lloyd, can you hear us?
You can hear us, but now we can't hear him.
We can't hear you.
We can't hear you. And we can't hear you. So I don't think Lloyd's going to make it with us tonight because we can't hear him and it's been dropping out all the time. I think we're gonna call it a day. The main, like I said, the main purpose of it tonight was getting us talking about it, which means that whoever's watching, hopefully you'll talk about it as well. And even if this podcast has helped one person, then it's one person who never had that help before, and it means that we've done our job. Does anyone want to add anything before we wrap it up?
I'll just quickly say that it's been an absolute honour to have Craig and Darren on with obviously what they've been through and brave enough to come on and actually talk about what they've actually been going through and trying to help other people out and all.
Thank you, mate.
Just obviously, I'd just like to say if there's anyone out there at this precise minute that is on their last seconds or whatever and thinking about doing something, please just get in contact with somebody. You've got the Samaritans line, which is 116 123. Give them a call, drop us a message, and we will try and get you some help, or just don't feel like you're on your own because you're not.
Danny, thanks for that comment, mate. I am strong, and that's why I'm doing this podcast, because we're all going to be strong and we're all going to help out each other from now on. So what we're going to do, we're all going to take an interest in each other's lives. I don't mean live with people, but let's
you can look after my kid if you want. Give me some break. Give me a break.
don't pick you through windows, but let's just take an interest in the people around us, right? To start with, let's be nice to each other, and I'm sure that would make us feel better, and that make them feel better, and everyone will start feeling better. So let's just raise the awareness and let's talk about it. And I'm really privileged for the people who've joined the panel today who've been brave to come on, and I'm glad that I've been able to share some parts of my life. I haven't gone very deep into my life because obviously the more you're in the public eye, the more sort of hate you get and the more bad comments you get. So, but in private, I'm going to speak more to people, and I'm going to try and improve my life, and I'm sure everyone who's watching will try and improve their lives as well. Just want to say thanks to everyone, really, and thanks to everyone in the comments. God bless everyone. Anyone who's Arsenal supporters, don't worry too much. Next week's another game. Take care.
Oh.
Thank you. Cheers.